Why do we engage in wars?
Why do husband and wife fight? The same way that why people have wars is also a difficult question.
Probably because the wife is always right.
Now that's a big statement. Wife. So the husband also feels that the husband is always right. So to answer your question very quickly, wars start because both parties feel they are right. That's why wars start.
But then a war has its own consequences. A husband-wife is very different than...
It also has consequences. You are not thinking of the psychological damage it creates on the child. You are only looking at the consequence from your point of view and your husband's point of view. थोड़ा सा झगड़ा हो गया, थोड़ी सी अनबन हो गई, आज एक साथ बैठ के खाना नहीं खाया, नॉर्थ साउथ को मुंह करके सो गए. It doesn't end there. It is a big damage that happens on the child. That is never taken into consideration. So all aggression, all attrition has consequences. Whether it is at a small scale in a family or whether it's at a large scale where nations are at war.
But then wars have their impact.
Consequences.
Yeah. So, I mean, aren't the nations aware that it is going to impact the society?
Yes, but they are also aware that not going to war, the impact will be much bigger. For example, somebody is invading my land and going to murder my people and conquer my property is one consequence of not going to war. So I am going to war to defend my people, my land, my property and my identity. So it's a battle of consequences. So first there is a battle within me. Should I engage in war or should I not engage in war? So that is the first battle I need to conquer. If I don't engage in war, then I am going to be overwhelmed. If I have to defend what I believe in, then I have to engage in this war because I am not the aggressor. I am the defender. So I am defending. I didn't invite the aggressor. The aggressor came on his own. So I have a choice, run away and surrender or face and protect.
So in a war, who is right?
Both think they are right. Because the aggressor thinks that I need more facilities. Take for example, real situations. Aggressors came from a desert condition which has no natural resources. Sand, intense heat, nothing grows there. And here is a land of plenty. Rivers, fertile soil, everything grown, education system, opportunities. So I am coming from a deprived position to acquire something which will better my condition. So I am the aggressor.
So does the result of the war decide who is right or wrong, or is it...
There is no right or wrong. There is cause and effect. In life, there is no right or wrong. There is cause and effect. The aggressor has a cause. He wants to come to a land which will offer his people a lot of opportunities and resources. The defender has a cause to protect his property from being plundered, looted, his people from being killed or murdered, and therefore there is a war. So there is a cause and there is an effect. There is no right and wrong. From the aggressor's point of view, he is right because he is seeking more resources. I am born in a land which deprives me of resources. Even to get a barrel of water, I have to struggle. I have to travel distances to collect a barrel of water. Here, water is flowing into the sea. Plenty. Nothing grows in my land. Here, everything grows. Vegetables grow, fruits grow. Animals are flourishing because they can graze. I can kill animals and eat my meat. I get nothing here. So let me explore an opportunity which will give more comfort to my people. Therefore, I become the aggressor.
But wouldn't it have been done through, peace? I mean, through negotiation?
Through commerce and trade. But once, that also happened in India. Some people came for commerce and trade and then became the aggressors and the conquerors and the rulers and the looters. So the greed of the human being takes over. Once I get a slice of bread, then I want the loaf of bread. Once I get the loaf of bread, then I want the eggs with the bread. Once I get the bread and the eggs, then I need the butter and the jam and the bacon and the meat. It multiplies. Because human being doesn't have the sense or the ability to curtail himself. Everybody wants more. Give me more. Today the ads are also saying, no, give me more. Does the ad ever say, this is enough? No, give me more. So that is basic human greed. Once your need is satisfied, when you want more than what you need, that is greed. Part of human nature. So if human nature is such, then war is inevitable. War is a reality of life. You go historically, everywhere human beings have fought wars. Go to any continent, there have been wars.
Right. So can we do anything to change that mindset of getting into a war mode or war zone all the time?
That's why you have deterrents, not today. What are the deterrents? Okay, you have an atom bomb, you will have an atom bomb. So if you use the atom bomb, I will use the atom bomb, then you will not exist, I will not exist, or both will perish, so both don't use. So the only way to deter a war is to have deterrents. And yet you will have the indiscreet human being who will not worry about consequences. Tu bhi mar, main bhi marta hu. So you have to constantly bear in mind that as long as the education of human being is not addressed, this subject is a never-ending subject. Education, not literacy. Today human beings are literate, they are not educated. Education is about life. Literacy is about communication.
Okay.
Nobody teaches us about life. That is why you have war. War teaches us about death. Even your own epics are talking about war. There is a Ram and there is a Ravan. There is an Arjun and there is a Duryodhan. Isn't this a war? So it is a war of an aggressor and a defender. Somebody embarked on an aggression. Whatever be the reasons. Again, right and wrong is not the subject. Ravan was greedy. He wanted somebody's wife. He had a wife. One of the most beautiful women in the land was his wife. Yet he wanted somebody else's wife. So that is greed. More than your need. So he became an aggressor. Then Ram has to defend. So there is a war. The Kauravas wanted what the Pandavas had. So there is a war. The British wanted what India had. So there is a war. You look at war, there is an aggressor and there is a defender. And it is the aggressor who turned greedy. And therefore the defender had to stand up to protect his interest. When the defender doesn't stand up to protect his interest, there is no war, which is what you want. But then you have to surrender your identity. All those who did not go to war surrendered their identity. The Red Indians surrendered their identity. Today you don't find Red Indians in America. The natives, as they call them. You are also battling for your identity, is it not? You are battling to retain your culture, your tradition, your way of life against somebody else's way of life who was the aggressor who came to your land. You are also struggling. The day you give up, you have surrendered to their identity. So war is inevitable.
So I cannot say that getting into war is right, is the correct way of...
If you are the aggressor, then that word applies, then it is not right. If you are the defender, then that word comes up. I am right, I am defending. I am defending against aggression. Who is the aggressor? The invader is always the aggressor. That means I want to live at your expense. The aggressor always says that, I want to live at your expense. The right and wrong gets answered there itself. But war is a consequence. War is an effect. The cause is in the aggression. So you will never be successful in having an earth free of war. Historically, you can see patterns of war existing. They will continue to exist. And that is your purpose. That is what they say, dharma. It is your purpose to defend your identity, to defend your people. Otherwise, you are adharmi. You are not adhering to the purpose for which you were born. You are born in India and you don't want to be Indian. Why were you born in India? There was a purpose why you were born in India. Now you want to sell India, then you are adharmi. Then you are not true to the purpose for which you were born. Tomorrow you will be living for Gujarat and then Telangana and then Maharashtra and then Vidarbha and then you will be living only for your family. How far you will go to divide? Then ultimately I will even murder my wife, I will live for myself. That's the end point of the human race. Because you are seeing division everywhere. The Creator created Earth. He didn't create United States or Europe or Africa. This is man's creation. Then out of that also you carved out nations. Now the nations are also being carved out to smaller nations. And the states in the nations are also being fragmented into smaller states. And then you will come to smaller cities and smaller towns, and then you will come to families. Today the families are also fragmented. There is no longer joint family. And then we have also come to discontinue the institution of marriage. Isn't that a war, not marrying? Live in the relationship. So you are fragmenting everything, which is a war. War is fragmentation. Under the garb of consolidation. I want more. I want more land. I want more resources. It's a garb of consolidation. People who have been aggressors remain aggressors. Even the son kills the father or the brother because he has always been aggressive. So war is inevitable. You can't do away with war because it's built into human nature. Education is the key, which is not available to everybody. Literacy is available. A literate man is more dangerous than an educated man. A literate man knows how to fight wars using different weapons. I can corrupt so many minds with my communication. And then those minds will act against your minds. People who have like-minded people like you, then those minds versus your minds is a war. Are you not seeing wars on television screens? Debates are wars. They are no longer debates. So what you are dreaming of, eliminating wars from the human landscape, is a dream.